Hello, this is the weekly review for U.S. history from March 22nd to March 26th, as we continued our examination of the unit on World War II and began and introduced the unit on the Cold War. We engaged in a writing prompt at the beginning of the week that unpacked the new goal we'll be working on for our next unit on the Cold War. Students are going to be asked to analyze and critique varying interpretations of historic people, issues, or events, and explain how evidence is used to support different interpretations. We broke down the goal to include the major verbs, what students would be asked to do, and the major nouns, what students would be asked to know. Throughout the week, we continued working on the Level 1 formative for World War II, connecting a historical theme to various items from World War II that had been examined in class, and discussing things such as turning points, events, consequences, and people. The Level 2 and 3 formative went up a level of rigor. We went over the first graphic organizer on the Holocaust together, and then students were asked to explore the other two graphic organizers on the Japanese internment and women's role during World War II independently. And the summative was there to work on as well. The World War II summative was introduced last week on Thursday and Friday. It's a combination of analyzing and critiquing historical themes and eras, as well as using the question formulation technique, which we had studied previously. Students were asked to break down World War II era into events, turning points, and people, and then create closed and open-ended questions. And not only that, they had to answer the questions that they created. So our introduction to the Cold War during the course of the week, in addition to analyzing the indicator that we've been working on, we interpreted historic people. And specifically, we talked about the Rosenbergs. We watched a video about them, and then also read an article that posed one interpretation of the Rosenbergs. It essentially claimed that they were indeed guilty. And the evidence used to support that interpretation, again, part of the indicator, included testimony from one of the Rosenbergs' co-conspirators. The following day, we had another interpretation. We read a different or varying interpretation, this one claiming that they were guilty but not traitors deserving of execution. The evidence produced to support this interpretation was the fact that one of their co-conspirators deliberately accused them in order to have their sentence reduced. So the interpretation was that the Rosenbergs, yes, were guilty of espionage, but had not really delivered major secrets to the Soviets at the time. Next week, we'll be finishing working on the World War II era formative and summative assessments. We will continue working on our next unit on the Cold War. Our indicator will ask that we analyze and critique various interpretations of people, issues, and events, and explain how evidence is used to support those interpretations. So since we focused on people last week, we'll be looking at some issues and events that occurred during the Cold War. And we'll be also working on a new executive functioning skill, effective communication. That's it for now. Take care.